they'd like to have Sam back.
Okay.
And I think they'd like to, but I think there's a limit to how far they're willing to go with Sam. So
why not just go with
I,
JJ McCarthy? Are there reservations about JJ McCarthy?
well, he's coming off the 2 knee surgeries, and the last one was just a cleanup. So I think that's part of the equation here. I I think coming back, like your question is going to be, is he going to be in a position to hit the ground running when you get to OTAs? And is he going to be in a position where you're going to be able to say to your team, we're giving you the best chance to win at the most important position on the field? And they have confidence in JJ. And JJ did a lot of things right. JJ pushed Sam last year, like in a way they didn't expect. Like it was a real, discussion point there in August before JJ got hurt. Like, is there a scenario where JJ plays significant snaps? Now, obviously, the injury happens and that changes a lot of things. I think what you'd be looking at now is, where is JJ's weight at? Where does he, how does he look physically coming off the injury? Because these things can take a toll on you. And so I think those are the sorts of things that the Vikings are watching right now when it comes to determining the management of the quarterback position.
Yeah, I really want to talk about this because, when we talked about the JJ McCarthy injury before, like a couple months ago, whatever, a lot of Vikings fans got mad because it was reported that he had a second surgery, and people said, no, he didn't. He just got an injection, and that was it. And which is very different than a surgery, obviously. But now it's definitely, more widely discussed that it was 2 surgeries. So one, the fact that second surgery was swept under the rug, to a large degree, at least publicly, is concerning, number one. Number two, this whole idea that it's, quote, just cleanup surgery, I always take major issue with, because that's not like a thing. Nothing is just cleanup surgery. With surgery, there is always true risk. I've had many surgeries in my life, and if you ever really meet a legitimately, intelligent surgeon who's going to tell you like it is and not just be like, yeah, everything's easy, everything's routine, they'll actually tell you like, no, man, like every surgery is a risk. There's really no such thing as routine surgery. Just going under anesthesia carries legitimate risks. So you're not just going to casually just do surgery just because. It's just not a thing. And to have cleanup surgery just a mere handful of months after you got your initial knee surgery is actually kind of absurd. Like, very absurd. So, and I've had his injury 3 times, all on the same knee. So believe me, I know. And so when you're going to do cleanup surgery, what they talk about often is like you're going to shave off some cartilage. You're going to like remove some cartilage, and because there can also be some fragments inside your knee, and they'll like kind of remove that. There could be some cysts in there, scar tissue. But again, you're going to cause also damage. Once you get scar tissue by doing the surgery. And so now you're going to like clean up some scar tissue, but then you're also going to potentially like cause more scar tissue. Like every time you keep going in the knee again, the same knee again and again, it's not great. My knee is definitely different. With each surgery that passed, my knee has definitely changed. Okay? Like it's definitely changed over the years. So, but like I've said as well though, it is an injury. Unless there's legitimate complications, it's a surgery where you're still going to be able to perform at your highest level. You're just going to probably experience some more soreness than you normally would have been if you never got the surgery. Some extra stiffness. You'll have the full range of mobility, but it won't feel great. I can get down in the squat position, fully down, and I can do it. It's not my favorite thing to do, and I can definitely feel my right knee compared to my left knee, but it doesn't stop me. So if I was still, a competitive athlete in the NFL or anything like that, it would be like an annoying thing to deal with, but it wouldn't stop me from being 100. If I was fully capable of achieving, a Madden rating of 100 or whatever the heck it is, getting this knee surgery and even having some of these issues wouldn't stop me from reaching 100 it wouldn't make me now, oh, I can only get to 90 or something. Like, that's not what this injury would be. But if I was originally able to feel like 100% on like a Tuesday, this would now maybe make me feel like, I just feel my knee more. And, he's talking about having swelling and all of that type of stuff. I mean, you're going to have some swelling, obviously, like, but this is a weirder story, honestly. And again, I am not someone who tries to sound the alarm or tries to get videos or clips and be like, uh-oh, JJ McCarthy's in trouble. I mean, like, they have a bunch of like actual doctors on YouTube who try to do that, who make videos around other people's injuries and try to be, and they say all this crazy stuff. And I'm always like, I always skip those because it's makes me so uncomfortable. And I don't like to try to really comment on someone else's injury because it's just, you just don't know. But I am confident, though, because like I've literally had this injury 3 times. And before you say, oh, well, this is a world-class thing, I got surgery done by very high-level doctors who did surgeries on professional athletes, and then went to rehab that works with professional athletes. I've been very fortunate in that regard. I take my body very seriously. So believe me, that's what I'm saying. Like, when I'm speaking from, I'm speaking from experience of working with, again, for all my injuries and having the fortune to be able to work with doctors and surgeons who are incredibly high level. Don't mean to brag, but I got that A level surgery, bro. And it's still messy. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's still messy. And the way how this is all unfolding it is weird. And it is weird for, at the time, a 21-year-old to have the meniscus injury and have the surgery and then need to go back in there, like, literally just a couple months later. That's not normal. Especially when you're 21, when your body is in its absolute prime of healing. The absolute prime. Like, it should be like, you should really not have any issues. And he's also going to be getting it done by a skilled surgeon. And all of that. So, yeah. And yeah. I'm telling you right now, having to go back under a couple months after already getting the surgery, where you already are still dealing with inflammation and swelling and stuff like that, it's just not a common thing. So I don't know what potentially else happened. If he retore it, there's the potential of that. Because again, you are now talking about someone who's now trying to get back in NFL shape. And he could have maybe pushed the recovery too hard. I mean, we don't know. And that's why it's like frustrating, because you have to kind of speculate. But I am confident, and I wouldn't say this if I didn't really believe it, that like this is a weirder situation. But I am also confident, again, outside of like it truly being complications, I would not be like, uh-oh, will he ever be what he was going to be because of this injury? That's just not what a meniscus injury typically is going to be. Now, I would be a little bit concerned about his recoverability and any other future injuries, because he's pretty much all but guaranteed to have more injuries moving forward in his NFL career and having surgery and other surgeries. And I would legitimately be concerned about that. How do I know? Because again, I know from personal experience as well. My body does not, heal at a very fast, accelerated level with some of my injuries. I've been given some very, fortunate genetic gifts. But my body has, worked against me ever since I was a little kid, quite frankly. I was the kid who was 12, 10, 11, wearing a knee brace, heel cups and stuff. I mean, when I was so young, I would, I played sports very competitively and probably too much, quite frankly. I would lay in bed and like cry myself to sleep because my ankles, just like my ankles and my calves, would be in such agony. So I have always had something. I also grew too fast for my body, and so my bones kind of started to like split. Like just like weird stuff like that. And again, my clavicle, my knees, my clavicle has never healed. My clavicle is still in 2 points, in 2 pieces. Like, I wish I could show it to you, but you'd never really be able to see it. And the doctor kept being like, I don't understand. You should have you're a young, healthy guy. Like, you should have a robust, like, do you smoke? Do you drink? Do you do this or that? I'm like, no, man, I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do. And it is. So, like, that would actually be a little bit more concerning. And again, I'm not putting that on him. I'm not saying, oh, this is, he's not going to be able to heal. And if he gets any other injuries, he's not going to be good, this or that. It's just like, because I don't know. But it is something to be concerned about. It is something to question and to kind of be like, what's actually happening here? And which is why I wanted to make that other video, because when I made the video earlier, again, a couple months ago, whatever, about his injury, like, there was a sea of people who were like, what the heck? He only got an injection. Then when I looked it up, what only came up was the injection. So people who are a little bit more locked into this, please let me know, like, when was it more reported and confirmed that he actually, again, went under and legitimately had a procedure? Because, like I said, it's a dirty little secret. There's no such thing as, cleanup surgery, minor. There's cleanup surgery, but there's no such thing as minor surgery. Surgery is surgery, and you need a whole team of people in there. I mean, like, it's and it's barbaric. They're cutting into your body, and it does not feel good. I mean, it does not feel good, and especially going into your knee. Okay, I mean, like, it's just, like, this is something that I'm very comfortable speaking about, because, again, I had it done 3 times with 2 different doctors. So, I'm very comfortable. But yeah, there obviously is concerns, but it's hard. Because, like I said, you don't know what kind of conversations they're having. And if this is more of a squeamish front office, or, because, like, are the doctors saying, dude, he's going to be fully fine, but, like, the front office is kind of like, ooh, this feels weird? Or is it kind of like the doctors are like, yeah, man, like, this is not normal for us to have to do another surgery. We believe he's going to make a full recovery, but you never know, because doctors, they always have to make those types of statements, because they open up their, they open up the door for them to get sued, essentially. So it's just like, you don't really know what conversations are legitimately being had. But we know the human body can get weird. There's a reason why, Christian McCaffrey went to, like, Germany or something. Cooper Kupp went to, I think he went to Minnesota for, like, a hamstring specialist. Like, there's all these different things. It's not as guaranteed, or as, I can't think of the right word, but, standardized as you would think, right? There's just not, even when you do a meniscus surgery, there's different approaches. Sometimes you get the meniscus surgery and it's like, well, I don't want you to put any weight on your leg for 6 weeks at all. And you have other surgeries where, other philosophies where it's like, I want you to get your surgery, and then you actually will legitimately walk to your car in a brace. And I had both types. I had both types of recovery options, where it was like, the one time I literally walked to the car in agony. I mean, like, it can be brutal. And the other one is, I know I used crutches, for weeks. There's some recovery methods where, the one where I had to walk to the car, like, I would take off my brace, lay in bed, and just slowly, bend my knee little by little by little by little, like, over the weeks. So by the time when it was time to, like, actually do real recovery, I already had full range of motion. The other time where I stayed in the brace for weeks and then had to go to recovery, it was brutal to get that range of motion, because, again, your body starts laying scar tissue down. If you start moving your knee from the jump, it starts to now lay scar tissue down in a way that's now conducive to you doing this. But if you don't, you have to really fight against it. And then so now, like, my physical therapist had to, like, literally, like, they call it manipulate the knee, and I have to, like, really push and lean, and my knee wasn't fully extended and my knee couldn't get fully bent. You have to really work on it. I will never do that type of surgery again. That type of recovery. I will always, hopefully I don't have to do it, but if I do again, I will absolutely take the other approach, where I am walking and moving immediately. because the other way it was awful. Awful. And my surgeon, when I told my surgeon, oh, this is how my other surgeon did it, he like rolled his eye. Like when I told him, like, oh, like I walked like literally the day after surgery, he rolled his eyes and we're like, oh my God. And like from his viewpoint, he was like, that's a dated way to go about it. And I'm like, I don't know, man. This, I was so scared when I had my third surgery. I started really being like, I remember looking at my physical therapist. I was like, is my knee ever going to be the same? Because of this, I never experienced it this way. And I was like, are we going, like, is it too late? Has the scar tissue laid itself down? Like, what is the problem here? And he's like, no, it's all good. It's all good. But again, physical therapists definitely are a little bit differently. They're a lot more supportive and positive. They work with athletes often. So it's a little bit, it could be motivational, but it was alarming. It was genuinely alarming. But I'm just trying to emphasize that there's just, it's not as clean as people think it is. But this feels too messy to me as well. So it's just, I don't know. Okay. So I also just saw, a post from after that second procedure or whatever, in case people try to dispute it. He's wearing a full brace and you can see the crutches there. That would now technically be a couple months. If he just got an injection and nothing else, there would be absolutely positively zero reason as to why months later, over 2 months, that he would still be wearing a full brace like that, as well as having crutches. Especially, you could be having that brace because you might still be using that for working out, although I find that hard to believe as well. And if you see these braces, what it is little by little, they give them more and more range of motion. So it'll be like, you only get that 15 degrees, whatever it is. And, I can't really tell exactly. I'd have to look at my brace to be like how much, which, maybe I will actually look, because I have the same brace he has. Yeah. All right. So I did just look at my brace, and it is the exact same brace. This right here, the little red thing, that's a switch that then locks the brace. And you can even see how he's bending the one leg and having the other leg straight. And you can see that there's still a little red above that little switch, which means it's locked. Because when it's flicked up, there's no little red line on that little switch. And so that means that it wouldn't be locked, especially because if it wasn't locked, then he would be sitting more, like both knees would be bent right now. So that means, again, he had a legitimate procedure that his knee is in this brace. He's using crutches and it's locked. Like, again, that's just not how this is supposed to work for just a meniscus tear. It's just not. So anyone who's maybe trying to still push this idea that it was like, oh, this is very little, or just clean up, or it was just an injection and yada yada, there's really not a single doubt in my mind. Again, also the sheer fact that he still has crutches. You can see the crutches right there behind him. And again, this was obviously now at this point was a few months ago. So I'm not saying that he's still dealing with this now, obviously, but it does highlight that there were legitimate issues and it wasn't just swelling. Because they said, oh, he got an injection. And I even saw another story. Oh, he did get a procedure, but it was just to help with some swelling. It's like, we're not getting the information here. We're just not. Which also now shows you that he was not able to really do anything this season in terms of, like, he was really only able to learn and observe with his mind, like nothing else. And quite frankly, I don't even know how much he was able to do that, because he was clearly recovering and struggling with his knee and needing another procedure, probably taking medication, pain medication, all that type of stuff, sleeping as much as you can because that's what you need to do as well. So it's not like he was really able to sit behind Sam for a year and like really soak up everything, put what he's learning and then do it in practice. Like he really did not get a year off. He didn't, So that also adds a wrinkle to this as well. Because going into this season, I kept saying, oh, it's great. I want JJ to, to not start for the first year, just like what Patrick Mahomes did, etc. I think it would be great for him. He lost that year. That much is very clear to me, because he was not really able to, he wasn't even able to continue to practice that year. I mean, like, and I would have at least thought, oh, he's still going to be able to do a lot of stuff, especially by, like, say, November, October. This really seals the deal for me, quite frankly. Again, I assume, at least right now, he's obviously going to be a lot further from what that is, but yeah, I just wanted to get ahead of anyone who was going to, still kind of push back on some of the question marks around his knee. And based on everything that I'm seeing, any questions honestly make 100% sense to me, quite frankly. And this is the frustrating thing about sports, is that we don't have all the information. And so we are left to just speculate. And especially when there's not a lot going on in the offseason. It's kind of like, well, hey, let's talk about J.J. McCarthy's knee and what are they doing? And again, the fact that the Vikings aren't like, you know what, this was amazing with Sam. This was great. We're moving on. We're really excited to start the J.J. McCarthy era. They're not doing that. And that's what I said in my previous J.J. McCarthy video. The fact that they're not doing that is incredibly telling. Incredibly telling. Because if they were also just confident with Sam, then they would just like, or if they were really confident with not JJ, then they would say, Sam, you're staying here, bro. We want to make a deal here. But instead, they're going to let him kind of like get his rate. Like, this whole thing feels weird, honestly. The more I think about it, the more I think about it out loud, I'm not going to know until it's all said and done if I liked what they did and how they did it. Because as of right now, I'm kind of just like, I don't understand. And it's because we don't have all the information. And it's, just a weird place to be in. But yeah, I don't know. Because even when I looked it up online, when he said, when JJ McCarthy went and got the surgery again, the cleanup surgery and the injection, they said, and it's not going to influence or impact his recovery timeline. And it's like, of course it is. Like, what are you talking about? The sheer fact that you had to now go back and do surgery is proof that the original timeline was insufficient, was not correct. So no, like, it doesn't make any sense, actually. In fact, realistically speaking, and I understand why they wouldn't do this because of football, but realistically speaking, he should have been able to get his meniscus repaired, and then essentially in 2 months, definitely 3 months, be pretty much 100%. Be pretty much like, I'm not saying that it's ideal for you to like run out and play contact football, but like there should be like, I mean, like he should be like 100% working out, doing everything. Like there should be like, at that point, there should really be like, no, you're pretty much recovered. The only reason why we're not throwing you out football because we're not going to throw you out there in November right now. Like it would be just a little bit more conservative. But in terms of just like your body itself, yeah, man. It should be like, again, if before the season started, if he could squat 350 pounds, by month 3, he should be able to squat 350 pounds. If he could run, whatever in 4.5 seconds, well, then he should be able to run in 4.5 seconds. Like, whatever his pre-range of motion, his pre-data points were and measurements, by November, December, it should be 100%. So, I don't know. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about J.J. McCarthy and kind of how this is all unfolding in the Minnesota Vikings and Sam Darnold? Let me know in the comments below, especially if you have more information on kind of the procedure, especially any other, again, like I said, for any of the people that are really locked into this, especially who have access to like the local stuff for Minnesota Vikings. If there's just more information, more insider, more connected information, please definitely let me know. I'd love to hear it. Please don't forget to subscribe. We're building an amazing community here. I'd absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.